Hi, I'm Jelena, and welcome to Confetti Conversations, a new interview series that mixes heartfelt dialogue with confetti play breaks to celebrate the beauty of being human. For the past 10 years, I've invited people into the world of the Confetti Project, where we get to explore what it means to be present, playful, and authentic, even in the mess. This show is a continuation of that mission. We use play to hold space for the hard stuff, but also the joy that lives in between. Today I'm speaking with David, a queer entrepreneur, content creator, and community builder, about navigating anxiety, embracing sensitivity, and living a life rooted in community. This is for anyone that's ever felt like they're too much, like they're too sensitive for this world, or if you're first generation and an entrepreneur. So whether you're here for inspiration, nostalgia, hope, and escape, or just a reminder that joy and depth can coexist, I'm really glad that you're here. Welcome to your new favorite playdate. So tell me, what was younger David like?
I was really into Power Rangers, and I think I did a lot of escaping with little toys and action figures, which low-key I've gotten back into as an adult to feed that inner child. It's funny, it was a bit of creativity, but then also very still a logic brain, because I would line them all up and they would be in certain categories. I would beg for very Lego person, so I would like to build my own little worlds and then play around with those and then take them apart. Actually, as I'm saying this, I'm I was probably an anxious kid, because it came a lot from I have to put everything away and have it organized.
Was there a social component to it?
At home, it was mostly me. At school, I was pretty social. I loved being around other people. I loved going to other people's houses.
I feel like because we both have immigrant Slavic parents, for me it was very authoritative in the house.
Right.
It was a completely different world than when I stepped out of it, and it was confusing even. But it was just so strict that I was told who I was. Was that part of your experience a little bit, being first generation Slavic as well?
It was definitely a little bit of that. I would also say K through 8, my parents sent me to a charter school, and by far the kids at that school were in better financial positions than we were. I was one of those people that rarely invited people to my home until maybe high school.
I couldn't go on sleepovers. They didn't really trust outsiders, anyone that wasn't blood. But I would have people over, but I'd be kind of embarrassed, to be honest, because my mom has a slight hoarding problem. And I remember at school I would get lunches and I would sometimes throw them out because I would be so embarrassed. I just wanted Lunchables or pizza.
Right.
I just wanted to fit in, right? And I didn't with the Serbian food that my mom would make. I remember going to people's houses and binging on their American snacks.
I think my mom finally got to a point where she's I'm tired of I don't have time to make your lunch. So we did the whole school lunch thing, and I literally cried. I was a very anxious kid. I think everything that felt new or outside of my world was very scary.
So you crave familiarity.
Yeah, I still do.
As you grew up, were there forces that disconnected you from yourself? Was there anything whether it was within you or within your environments or even the systems at play that made you feel not enough or other or not worthy?
I think there was versions of it in lots of places. I mean, being queer but not speaking it until my adulthood, I definitely felt other around the sports teams that I was on and swim teams and things like that. Now, I don't think this way, and my sister and I are very close, but she was definitely felt the smarter one. She just had these very intense academic accolades. Also as a kid, I was just told that I was very sensitive a lot, so I just felt other for being so
It was
emotional.
too much a phrase that was ever used in your household, because it was in mine.
Something would happen at home and I would get scared and I would call my mom, but it was now I'm as an adult, I'm oh, these were definitely little mini panic attacks. But then my mom would be calm down. As a kid, I'm just okay, but I also don't know what that means or how to calm myself down.
So what was the journey of breaking free of these dynamics and realizing, oh, there's a big world out there, and the process of you coming back to yourself, your authentic self?
The process probably didn't start until I got into therapy, honestly, starting to explore who am I, what's important to me. I always realized I was sometimes I'm not able to make decisions other people are able to make decisions. I will stew and spin on making a decision, whether it's big or small, and contemplating how is this going to affect my life. Through that, it gave me permission in a lot of ways to access some of the queerness. It wasn't really until 2021 where I was well, like transitioning into a more creative field, and then thinking about like what would be successful for me. Like I was like, I should make a change. I think ultimately the tipping point was like looking around where I was. Oh, I don't want to be like anyone that's in my vicinity right now.
What is your relationship to creativity, and how is it related to like play and joy?
Now that I look back on it, well, like I was like, math, science, and engineering is not devoid of creativity. How you solve a problem is your creative thinking skill. So to me, creativity is a part of you. How you think is your creativity. How we want to access joy, I think, is representative of like our relationship with creativity.
So you ready to play with confetti?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
How do you feel?
Great, energized. I feel like I got some dancing out. A lot of fun. I definitely, yes, playful side.
How do you use joy and play to like navigate hard things? Or have you used joy and play to navigate hard things?
This has been a topic for me and my therapist, like things going on in the world, and generally like when I was navigating my own like entrepreneurship sort of struggles, it was like trying to find those moments of play and joy. It has to be something physical. Try to take myself out of whatever the pain situation is. If it's something like mechanical with my hands, like if it's the action figures and it's something like where I can literally focus on that thing. We have a little court around, like a wall ball court, so I'll just like go smack a ball very hard. To be completely honest with you, I need to be better about it. I know the importance of it, and like also coming in contact with you, I'm like, oh no, this is obviously a very important part of like us being a whole human being. I'm still, I think, navigating, allowing myself to like fully give into that and to hold space for it. I don't know if you experience this too when you like sort of transitioned into like being an entrepreneur. Even now I'm realizing it's still hard to break hustle or 9 to 5 or work mindset, and then the like, okay, the opposite of that is just like completely breaking and like almost like dissociating or whatever, spacing out. So I'm trying to like realize that that is what I'm doing when I'm like, when we're like watching insert whatever streaming service or just like being on the couch. So I probably need to hold more space for it if I'm being honest with myself.
What do you do when you're navigating like chaos or, you know, adversity or even just density, like things feel heavy? Like what is your natural tendency?
You mean after I spiral?
Well, what's the spiral? Because I have a lot of experience spiraling. Is it like intrusive thoughts, catastrophizing?
Catastrophizing, yeah, it's absolutely that. Whether it's like a work situation, a social situation, a global situation, it's just like, how am I preparing myself?
It's wild how our mind can be our worst enemy too. I always look at people that are so carefree. Their default isn't anxiety and fear. And even me realizing that I'm like a scared little girl, like most of the time.
Yeah, literally, what is it like to be so free? I don't know how to tell what is real and what is not sometimes in a way that's like, well, the inner critic or like this voice that I've adopted feels like a realist in my head. And so that's what's catastrophizing, and like what is planning for stuff or always telling me that like you should believe the like negative side so you're like prepared for whatever. And my old therapist, like we gave that voice a name so I could just be like, shut up Bob or whatever I named it at the time. And then like, so I can like separate myself from like, no, like this is me. This is objectively what I've done and what I continue to do. And like, that is whatever voice. I mean, I know whose voice it is, but that is like the voice that I've internalized.
Sometimes like being a deep feeler, I can't even distinguish the voice because it feels like a tsunami in my body. Like it's so overwhelming that like I don't know what's what. So I feel like even getting to the point where you can start to like observe and have awareness, I feel like that's a massive step.
Freed me from a lot of stuff, and then like coupled with navigating entrepreneurial stress and coming through it, I'm like, okay, no, I like that. When I say like I come into this year a lot more confident, I'm like, oh no, like I think I can like frame my reality a little bit more accurately, as opposed to always thinking that like something dastardly is around the corner.
Well, it's ironic because you've literally chosen a profession that is rooted in the unknown. Maybe that's part of the journey for both of us. Maybe we're meant to put ourselves in this much stress to like start to grow and like learn how to cope and like adapt to it.
Kind of knew that like embarking on something like that was going to force me to come to terms with things within myself.
What gave you courage to take that step, to make that leap? And like, what would you tell other people from your experience?
I looked around the like office and the room that I was in, and I just like looked around. I was like, this is not what I aspire to. The most successful people we've seen like in our culture or society are people who like very much did not do the things that we were like constantly told to do. Well, if I'm going to be happy, like I have to control this for myself. Having immigrant parents back, I'm like, why did you guys come to this country for me to just like be miserable? I couldn't live with myself if I like didn't try.
And what role does community play within your life that you find it to be so important to literally have a physical space for people to gather and be in community?
Fostering this space came out of a few reasons. I was watching Issa Rae's Insecure and watching her establish a career by being very present in her community and bringing people up with her. Wow, this feels like really positive. She's like literally bringing people up. I've realized that a passion of mine is like giving other either creative people, content creators, entrepreneurs, or like creative, even curious people who are just sort of like dipping their toes into whatever their creativity is like giving them a place where they can explore that brings me a lot of joy. Now more than ever, connecting in like physical spaces and is really important.
So what would your younger self tell you now?
Gosh, I think my younger self would be really happy and excited that we found something more than just like what other people told me to do. I think my younger self would just be stoked that there doesn't feel like there's any like tension in terms of like who I am and like what I'm doing anymore. And that feels really great.
So we're gonna do the final confetti throw.
Oh my gosh, okay. Where are we throwing?
Anywhere.
Oh my god.
This is a wild card.
There's so many options.
Ready, set, go.
That never gets old.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. It means so much to me. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, comment, share. It goes such a long way. Tune into the next episode of season 1, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.